So in this video, I'm going to share on the Nanyang Primary School Primary 4 answers for mathematics, term 1 weighted assessment. So this will be very good if you want to do revisions for your weighted assessment. So usually get out your papers and pens. We're going to go through the answers. The best way to do this is either you can download this whole assessment link in the description, or you can go, I'm going to go through the answer one by one, or the question one by one. So you see a question, pause the video, write down your workings and the answer and see whether it is correct. All right, so let's get started on the first question. So let's start with the first question, which is multiplication, something that you might not like. But I will show you the long way to do it and the shorter way to do it as well. Okay, so first, what is currently 649 times 73? So essentially, we need to break up the numbers. So you see here 73. We're going to break up the numbers into what is essentially 73, right? So it is 70 plus 3. So essentially, to break it down, it's easier for you. 649, right, times 70, right? Or this is 30, but 649 times 70. Okay, I'm going to put here 70. And then we also have 649 times 3. Okay, because essentially it's easier for us to multiply when we separate them and then we add them together. Okay, all right, so the long way is you get the answer, right? So you do your working 619 and then you times 70. Okay, so essentially everything is zero here, so we can ignore this, so it will be easier. So now we just multiply 9 times 7. Okay, so if you remember, 9 times 7, it should be 63. So you put 3 over here and then you put 6 at the top, right? So make sure to go through your multiplication table as much as possible, right? Really just do, it's all about repeating until you get it, right? Okay, next one, 4 times 7, right? This is 28. So 28 plus 6 is 34. So usually if it's 28, so it's like 28 plus 6, this should be 34. So you put 4 here and then you put 3 here. And then 6 times 7 is 42. This will be 45. That's what you see over here. Okay, so 649 times 70 is 45,430, right? And then you plus here, the next working is 649 times 3. Okay, so this is a long way. So 9 times 7, so 9, sorry, 9 times 3 is 27, so you put 7 over here, you put 2 on top. 4 times 3, then this should be 12 plus. So 4 times 3, this should be 12, and then plus 2 over here, this should be 14, right? So I'm going to put 4 here, and then I put 1 on the top. And then lastly, 6 times 3, which 6 times 3 is equal to 18, and then you have 1 over here, so you plus 1, it should be 19. So we're gonna write 19 as what you see over here. Then 1947. Okay. So we add them up, so you can put the workings as well. 45430 plus 1947. This should give us, so 0 plus 7 is equal to 7. 3 plus 4 equal to 7. 4 plus 9 is equal to 13. Put 1 over here. 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. 1 over here. So this should be 7. And then you have 4. So the answer is 47377. Okay, so 47377. All right, that's it. So the answer is number 4. But that is the long way. I'm going to show you a shorter way, right? So I would recommend you to know how to do the long way. But if you see the pattern is that from this over here, before we already had this. Essentially, if you look at the answers, right, it is actually very, very different, right? And one thing to take note is that when you have very different numbers in this question, what you need to take note is the last number. Okay, so maybe you might see what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so in this example over here, you have the number 2, right? You have number 2, you have the number 0, you have the number 3, and number 7, and the ones place. And the thing is that in this, it's all different. So that means, right, if you know the last number for the answer, you will know what the correct answer, right? So I just repeat, if you know the last number, right, because the last number all different, okay, right? And all of these other numbers you see is also very different, right? So the thing is that if you know what's the last number, you will get the correct answer. Okay, and how do we get the last number? So if you see over 649 times 70, the last number is 0, right? But we are adding them up together. Okay, so essentially what we care about is when we multiply a single digit number, because when we multiply this 70, when we break it down over here, we actually, it doesn't really help. So we only need to get the last number, which when we add up, right? So you can see that the 0 plus 7, this will become 7, right? And without even adding all them up, the answer should be number 4 already, right? So we can even don't need to care about the 70. We actually care about the number 3. So if you were to just start out 649 times 73, right? Okay, this is like the whole equation. So essentially, if you were to just put like 9 times 3, right, over here, 9 times 3 is 27. So you put 7, you put 2 here. And then you, if you know, right, the next number, right, so this is question mark. The next number, which is over here, when you plus them together, right, essentially this is 0. Then 9 times 7 is something else, right? So the final answer should be question mark, 7. And then if this is 7 and this is 7, the answer should be this one. So this is a bit, I mean, this is if you know that all of these numbers, must make sure that all of these numbers are very different, because all of these numbers is very different and the last number is also very different, means there's no same last number, and you know that this is the only answer that is correct, right? This is an MCQ question. If you do the multiplication throughout, I think that's fine. But because of time, you should have a better understanding that it is all from, I would say, educated guess. And usually, if you do it well, you can actually answer this very quickly, like within seconds, because you just need to know 9 times 3 is 27. There, the last number is 7, and that's it. Okay, so that is how to actually answer quickly in MCQ, right? So if you were to do the whole multiplication, I think that's good, but it also takes a lot of time as well, and you can get careless mistakes along the way. So always get that last part to just quickly answer, right? And if you have time, you can double check the answer as well. All right, so this is the answer. The answer is number 4. Let's move on. Okay, so second question is, a number when rounded to the nearest hundred is 56400. Okay, so let's break it down what this whole sentence is. So a number when rounded to the nearest hundred, right? So what does it mean when it's rounded to the nearest hundred? That means, for example, if I have 1, 0, 1, if I were to round to the nearest hundred, that means I need to see what's the number on my tens place to see whether I need to round up or round down. So in this case, this should be rounded to 100 because 0 is less than 5. Okay, what about 150? If I round to the nearest 100, what will be the answer to this? If you answer 200, then you are right, because number 5 over here is 5 or more. So if you round 5 or more, you get to round out, which is actually plus 1 to your hundredth place digit, which is 200. Okay, same goes to if I were to put 180, it should be 200. Okay, so if you know this, then it is the first step to answering this question. So essentially, if we nearest to the 100, we will get this number. So we are looking at the number on the 10th place. 10th place. Okay, now the next question is, what is the greatest possible whole number? Okay, greatest possible whole number. All right, so the key word over here is greatest possible, right? What is the greatest possible? This, in other words, another way to say it is, what is the highest possible whole number? Okay, so let's go through every single one of that. Okay, so first one, number 1 is 56399. So if I were to go to number 9 over here, is it more than is it 5 or more? Yes, that means this will, if I were to round out to the nearest 100, it will be 56400. Okay, this is a possible answer. Next one, 56409. Okay, so this means it is also possible. So because 0 is less than 5, so this will round down, but it will still give us the number 56400 as what we are looking for over here. Okay, so the next one, 56449. So we see the 10th place, it is number 4. Is number 4 less than number 5? Yes. So that means if we round to the nearest 100, this will be 56400. And the last one, 56499, right? So we see at the 10th place is number 9. That means we need to round up the number 4. So we plus 1. So round up, we just plus 1 will be 500. So you can see that out of the 4, only 1 is not the right answer, right? So sometimes you do careless mistake, then you might say, oh, it must be number 4 because it's odd one out. No, no. This means this definitely cannot. All right. So now you know that all of these other numbers over here, when we round up to the nearest 100, we will get 56400, right? Or 56,400. I like to say individual numbers because easier for me to say, right? And faster for me to say. Now, out of this, what is the highest number as what you see over here? Okay, because all of these first thousand, the thousands place, right? The 56,000, all the same. Okay, so that we know already. But out of these three numbers, which is the, like I say, greatest, right? Is just another word for highest. So is out of these three, what is the highest number? So if you say that the highest number is 449, then you are right because 449 is bigger than 409 and it's also bigger than 399 as well. So that means the answer for this question is number 3. All right. So if you got this correct, congratulations. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, you can pause this video to try this on your own. This one is a little bit tricky, but you should be able to solve it. All right, so look at the number pattern below. So there is a bunch of numbers over here. Okay, so a bunch of numbers. Okay, so you have this question: what is the missing number? So now you just need to know what is the pattern. So let's break down, right? We can just ignore this first. Just ignore and let's see what is the pattern over here. Okay, so you see that in this number 39400, 37400. So we can write down. So this is the first pair. Let's put A, let's put B. So simple, right? So A to B, which is essentially 39400, and then we have 37400. So what does that mean, right? This looks like a H, but this should be 4. Okay, so that means we have a difference in numbers. So 9 and 7. So how do we get from a 9 to a 7? So essentially, B minus. So what is the missing link over here is we actually need to minus how many, right? What is the minus? What is the number over here? We minus something, it becomes 37400. Okay, so sorry. Okay, but yeah. So if your answer is 2000, you're right. So it's 39400 minus 2000, and this will get 37,400. Okay, because if you were to see our 9 and our 7, so you just, and they are the thousands place, so that's why you have the 2000. Okay, so that means this pattern over here is minus 2000. All right, so maybe your thinking is, okay, the third number or the number at C, right? Same thing, right? Minus 2000. No, 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 no. You need to be careful that you cannot assume every pattern is the same, right? So now we go to B and C. Okay, so we know A and B. Whoops. We know A and B. Let's see what is B and C, right? So with this, B goes to C. So what is B and C? So it is 37,400, and then it suddenly turns to 37,000. Wait, it's not minus 2,000 anymore. Okay, so what is the missing equation? It's still minus, right? Because we can see that this number is bigger than this number. So this is a minus, right? Same thing, right? That's what we've done here. So if you know what is the missing link, right? So essentially, if you don't know what this is, you can just reverse, right? Okay, how do I get this, right? How do I get 365 to 400, right? Because both thousands place is 37,000. So essentially what we can do is we can just minus. So 400 minus 365, what is it, right? So you can write down also, right? 400 minus 365. Whoops, 365, right? So you can put 10, then you can put 10, this will be 3. Okay, so basically 10 minus 5 is 5, 10 minus 6 is 4. 4? No. So this should be 35, okay, not 45. Okay, because we took off the 10 from here, so this should be 9, this should be 3. Okay, so then yes, so 9 minus 6, this is 3. That's why you see over here. So this minus 35 is equal to 37365. Okay, and there we go. So we know this is minus 35. So in the second one, this is minus 35. Okay, then you'll be confused. Why? Okay, so minus 2000 minus 35. What is the pattern here? I don't know. Don't worry, there is the light at the end of the rainbow. Okay, so now let's compare with C and D. If you were to look at the numbers here, 37365 and 35365, you can see that it is actually minusing how much? 2000. Yeah, so we can see that's minus 2000. That's what you see over here, right? And then we can go to E as well. Okay, then can we assume that this should be minus 35? Okay, so if you look here, 35,365, the next number or number is 35,330. So let's see whether 365 minus 330. It is 35. That's what you see over here, right? It's like, oh my god, I see the pattern now, right? So minus 35. Okay, so now you see the pattern. Then what do you think is the, oops, oh shit, missing number as what you see over here? Okay, so you see the pattern, minus 2000 minus 35, minus 2000 minus 35. So what's the next pattern? If you see the next pattern is minus 2000, you are right. Okay, so what is 35,330 minus 2000? Okay, and if your answer is, so you can write down if you want now, right? But if you can do quick math, then essentially the answer should be 33,330 over here. Three. Okay, so the answer to this is 1. That's what you see over here. 1. Yay. Okay, and then if you want to like double confirm, right? So the next pattern, whoops, will be minus 35. Okay, so if you were to add 33295 plus 35, then it should bring 3. So 5 plus 5 is 0. This is 10, this 3, put 1 here, then this will be 3330, which is correct. Apologies for my workings over here. But yes, got it. Right, so it is number 1. That's what I see over here. All right, great. Let's move on to the next question. All right, so this question is your open-ended question, a short open-ended question. All right, so over here it says here, what is the remainder when 72 or 7,294 is divided by 8? Okay, so we are looking for remainder. We're not looking for the answer. We're looking for the remainder. Okay, so what you can do is you can just divide. Okay, so you have 8 and then you divide 72 94. Okay, so what you can do is that you can see what is the remainder as what you see over here. So generally you have 7, so you cannot divide by 8, so you can divide 72, right? So that means if you remember what 72 divided by 8, it is 9. Okay, then you're left with 94, right? So in this case, with 8, how can you minus this? So with the next number 94, you can minus the number 8, right? So I will remove this and you just minus 8, which is 1, right? So you get 14 over here. Okay, so 14, is there any other number closest to 14? So multiple to 88 is 8, 16. 16 cannot, right? So you only can minus 8. That's what you see over here, right? So this is 1 as well. So this will give you 6. So what is the remainder for this? Remainder is 6, right? This is the remainder, or you can write it down. That remainder is 6. So write down remainder is 6. There you go. That's it. That is how you get the remainder. So make sure you read the answer properly to write down the answer, which is 6, not 911. Not. It is answer 6. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. You just need to practice your division as much as possible. Okay, let's move on to the next question. All right, next question is 16 and 64 have exactly 5 common factors. 3 of the common factors are 1, 4, and 16. What are the 2 common factors? Other 2 common factors. Okay, so let's write down. Okay, 16 and 64. So you put here 16 and then you can put here 64 below. Okay, so what are the common factors? We already know that 1 is a common factor. So you put 1. 1, 1. Okay, then we go through the next number. What is a common factor between 16 and 64? Don't worry about this first. Okay, let's see. 16 and 64, can they both be divided by 2? Yes, they can, right? So 16 can divide by 2, right? Yes, so because it's an even number, so it's 2. 64, can it be divided by 2? Of course it can as well, right? So now we have the first other common factor, which is number 2. Okay, number 2. Very good. Okay, let's go for the next one, which is what is the next common factor between 16 and 64? Can 16 divide by 3? Nope. 64? Nope. So, I mean, if it's not, cannot lah, right? So, let's move on to 4. Can 16 divided by 4? Can, because 16 divided by 4 is 4. 64 divided by 4 is what? It's quite a long number lah. But can it divide by 4? If you want, you can try like 64 divided by 4. You put 4 here, 1, and then this should be 24. So 24 is what? 16. So minus 24. Okay, and 0. Right? 16 can. Yes. So essentially, 4 can be divisible by 64. We don't need to do it because it already gave you the answer. Right? Okay, next one. Can it divide by 5? Cannot, right? So cannot. Can it be divided by 6? 16 divided by 6? No, right? 6. So if either cannot, then just do lah. So essentially, you can actually write down the whole like number lah, right? But you should kind of know what's the next common factor, because the next common factor should be roughly around this. You multiply them, right? 2 times 4. So the next one should be 8, right? So can 60 over 8? Yes. So 8 and 8. So this is the next common factor as well. So common factors are, if you want to get more common factors, you just need to multiply two numbers, right? So you 1 times 2, then I mean 1 is 1 now, right? But 2 can be 4, yes, right? 2, 8, same thing. Then 8, then you can go for 16 as well, because 2 times 8 is 16, right? That kind of thing. Then 32 and what so forth and so on. So 2 and 8. So the answer for this should be 2 and 8. That's what you see over here. The answer is 2 and 8. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Find the sum for the first 3 common multiples of 2 and 6. So break down the question again, right? We are looking for what? The sum of the first 3. Right? Sum means, what does sum means, right? Sum means total, right? Find the total. So what is total? So total, right, means all numbers add together. Okay, so when you hear sum, it's like, okay, all numbers must add together. How many numbers? First three numbers. So you need to add all of the first three numbers. And what are these numbers, right? Common multiples of 2 and 6. Okay, so what are the common multiples of 2 and 6? First three common multiples, right? So let's do the common multiples. So let's have 2 and let's have 6. Okay, so usually with common multiples, what you need to do is you need to go through all of the different numbers in a multiplication table, right? So you just need to have the common multiples of 2 and 6. Okay, so let's try out 6 first, the bigger number. Because if you see these two, usually go for the bigger number, because then you can see whether the smaller number can fit right in. Actually, either can, right? So remember, right, your multiplication table. Okay, 2, right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, that kind of thing, right? Same goes here, 6, 12, 18, 24, right? Okay, so do you see the first common multiple between 2 and 6, right? You should, which is the first one, which is 12 over here, right? Give me a second while I change the color. So 12, okay? Wait, that's not the first one. The first one is 6. Yeah. Second one is 12, right? Then, if you were to go through the last one, which is over here, not the last one, but the last common multiple, 16, 18, then you actually get the last common multiple. And the thing is that actually there is in a way, a shortcut. Did you see that it's only the first three of common multiple 6? Why is that so? Actually, you don't have to do this whole thing, because 6 is already a common multiple of 2. So that means if it asks us for the first three common multiples, we will just need to get the first 6 numbers, since 6 is already a common multiple of 2, can be divided by 2 essentially, right? So now we know that these are the three numbers. The next step is, the answer is not 6, 12, and 18. We need to find the sum of the first three common multiples. So remember, sum means total. Total means add all numbers, right? So what we need to do is we need to add them all up. Okay, so that means we were to have to add 6 plus 12 plus 18. And what's the answer? So 12 plus 18, this should be 30, plus 6, it should be 36. So the answer is 36. That's what I see over here. All right. So always read the question, break down slowly what they need to do, and then get the answer as well. All right. Let's move on to the next question. All right. So use the 5 digits below to form the greatest 5-digit number. So the digit. So essentially, we need to get the biggest. So greatest. Say again, right? Greatest means biggest. Biggest, right? Another word for greatest is just another word for biggest, right? So the digit in the thousands place is an even number. So what does this mean? Digit in thousands place is an even number. Okay, so we know what's a thousand place, right? So thousand is, we write down, when you hear 1,000, just put thousand. Okay, so it must be even number, right? So it can be 2,000, it can be 4,000, right? 4,000, it can be 6,000, right? So essentially multiplication of 2, right? So this must be an even number, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, dot, 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 right? It can be any of these. At least it can be divided by 2, can, right? Right. So now the last part is use each digit below only once. So if I were to say 8, 8, 3, 5, 1, is this the correct answer? No, right? Because we need to only use one digit once, or one time. So we see that we are using 8 two times. So this is wrong. right? This is wrong. Okay, so this is not the answer that we're looking for. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get to create the biggest number. So in the thousands place, that means, right, this is 5 digit. So you remember uh, this is the ones. So this is the ones digit. This is the tens place. This is the hundreds place. This is the thousands. So thousands. This one is thousands, and this is the 10,000s. Okay. So I see over here. So it's saying that in the thousands place must be an even number. So out of these numbers, what number is an even number? Is it 1, 0, 3, 5, or 8? So it's pretty obvious. It's actually 8. Okay, so we already know what is the number for the thousand place because there's only one even number. Okay, now the next thing is we want to get the biggest 5 digit number. So in our 10,000, what is the biggest number that we can put in, right? Is it 5, 3, or 1? I don't think it's 0, right? So it should be 5. Okay, then you just work backwards. So 5. Okay, now we don't have 8. Now we don't have 5. Then what can we put in the hundreds? What is the biggest number? 3, right? Then we put 3. Then we remove this. Tens, what we are left? 0, 1, which is the higher one. Of course, it's 1. And then last one is 0. So what is the answer? The answer is, wait, 58,310. That is how you get to this answer, right? And yeah, that's it. Okay, so I think this should be the second last question. You can pause this video to check out. Okay, so Kaylin has two six-sided dice, right? So essentially what this means is you have a possible of 6 numbers. Okay, one is black in color, one is white, as you see the visual over here, the picture over here, right? So she rolls both dice and adds the two numbers shown on the dice. How many ways can she get a total of 8? So ways, right? So what is the ways, right? So ways can be, for example, 1, and so this is the black die. So dice is many dices, one die, right? Don't die, right? So and then you put here white die. Okay, so one way, if you want to put into a table, can also. So let me also draw a very nice rectangle over here. So you see over here. So you have the white die and the black die. So and it's a six-sided dice. Okay, so that means this six-sided dice, either you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, all right, and basically she can get a total of 8. So that means two numbers. So for example, in this case is 2 and 6. Then we add them into, if we add this up, this should be 8, right? So that means in this example, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, how can we make it into the number 8 with two numbers in this example over here? Can we use number 1? I don't think so, because if you want to use number 1, whoops, then that means we need to get what other number? 7. But do we have the number 7 in a six-sided dice? No. So we can't use the number 1. So we can remove number 1. That's what you see over here. Set life. Okay, that means we have the other numbers as well. Okay, so with that said, if I were to have my black die to be number 2, what will be the white die number? Okay, because we need to get the total of number 8. 6, right? Okay, then let's just go through the next what do you call this number? If it's 3, the white die should be 5. Okay, this is total 8. And then last one, which is 4. White die should be 4 as well. Okay, all right. So these are essentially we can put way. So we have the one way. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So 3 ways. Do we have more ways to actually get ways? Are just combination. So there is. And 4 and 4, that means we can have the fourth one, which is, if the black die go number 5, then this should be number 3. And then number 5 over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the last number is 6. That means for the white die is 2. And there you go. So that means how many ways can we get to a total of 8? So the ways is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer should be number 5, as what you see over here. Okay, because this is how many ways we can get to a number 8. That's what you see. All right. Okay, so let's move on to the next question, the last question itself. Okay, so the cost of a dining table is $735. The dining table costs 5 times as much as a dining chair. How much did the dining chair cost? Okay, so we understand this sentence, right? A dining table 735. Okay, what does this mean? Table costs 5 times as much as a dining chair. So you see the word 5 times essentially is 5. 5 times, all right? 5 times something, okay? 5 times something, question mark, is equal to as much as a dining chair. So if the sentence says the dining table costs 5 times, that means the dining table is this price, right? So I'm just gonna put here, oh god, okay, yeah. So 5 times something equal to $735. That's what you see over here. Okay, so that means the essentially, if I were to write in the equation, dining table is equal to 5 times. So 5 cost 5 times, right? As much as, so as much as is essentially what is the price of the other thing, which is the dining chair. Okay, right? So cost 5 times as much is essentially what it looks like over here. Dining table is equal to 5 times as much as a dining chair. And the thing is, you know how much a dining table costs, which is $735, equal to 5 times dining chair. Okay, right? Then the thing is that how do we then get the dining chair price? So in this sentence over here, it's saying one dining table is equal to 5 dining chairs. So if I want to get one dining chair, I need to divide, right? So that's where you have $735 divided by 5 is equal to the dining chair. And how much is that? Right, so you just put 735, put your working here, 5 here. So you put 5, 1 minus this one become 23. Then you can put 20, put your 4, right? And then go 35. And 35 is actually 7, right? And put here. Okay. So the dining chair is essentially equal to $147. Okay. And that's the answer. The answer is 147. Okay, so essentially the hard part of this is to understand the question itself. What is the cost of a dining chair? 5 times, it is 5 times more. I mean, it's as much. Basically, the dining chair is 5. The dining table is 5 times more, so dining chair is 1/5 of a dining table. Okay, and the last one. How much more did a dining table cost than a dining chair? So how much more, right? How much more did a dining table cost than a dining chair? So essentially, what's the difference? Okay, so how much do you need to pay more if for the dining table from the dining chair? So essentially, what you need to do is you need to minus the dining table $735 minus $147. Then you can do your workings over here. Right, it's not division. My apologies. Right, so 735 minus 147. Okay, so 5 minus 7 cannot bring over here. This should be 2. 15 minus 7 is 8. 2 minus 4 cannot, so you put 12. This should be 6. So 5. 12 minus 4, this should be 8. And the answer should be $588. right? So how much more? $588. Okay, the answer is dollars 588. Okay, make sure you put the dollar sign because we are talking about price as well. All right, and that's it for this weighted assessment, right? So if hopefully you get the answers correct, if not, then make sure to practice as much as possible. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want more of this kind of videos, subscribe down below and comment down if you want to go through more of these practice papers as well. That's it. See you in the next one. Bye bye.